Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I decided to get a little bit more personal and maybe start this whole Girl Talk series, maybe like a weekly thing or a monthly thing. I haven't really decided. It's a lot of commitment. But I really thought it'd be cool to kind of get your guys' feedback on what you think, with kind of continuing this Girl Talk series where you guys can give me topics of things to talk about. And I will sit on my bed and share them with you, and we can have girl talk. So, yeah, as you can tell by the title, I wanted to talk a little bit about depression. And if you have been subscribed to me for quite a while, I've mentioned in past videos that I have suffered from depression for about 5 or 6 years now. And gradually they seem to be getting worse and worse as I get older. And this past year, 2014, was the worst year for me by far. So much stuff has happened in 2014, and surprisingly, 2014 went by really, really fast. And so this past year was really, really hard for me. So I kind of thought that now was a good time to kind of talk about things, and hopefully what I say to you guys will help anyone else that suffers from depression, or maybe you are dealing with the same things that I am, or whatever. So I wrote down 5 kind of tips that I've learned over the years that are good with coping and dealing with depression. But I kind of want to start off by being a little bit more personal on my side of the story, kind of how I started with depression. It's really hard to remember that far back. I was, I think, 14 years old when the depression and the anxiety and the ADHD and everything else kind of started. I was a very difficult child, I guess you could say. I kind of had a troublesome personality, I guess you could say. I always got into trouble. I always put myself in bad situations where I got into trouble. Like, I just wasn't a smart preteen. I was in my preteen phase. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of understood and kind of looked back on it and been like, okay, that was insanely stupid of me to act that way and do those kind of things. Because I feel like my life could be completely different now, and it's weird to think about. But when I was, 14 and 15, when I was just starting in high school, I was really obsessed with being popular and well known and thought of and the cool, kid. Like, it was that kind of phase. And so I thought it was cool to hang out with the bad kids and, skip school and blah, 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 typical high school, issues. I don't know what you can call them. So that's where it kind of started. And I don't really know to this day, I don't really know what caused the depression and the anxiety and all of that to come up. But first off, I would actually like to say that I believe that mental illnesses and mental health is so misunderstood in our society today. It's looked down upon, and so many people suffer in silence, and I believe I do 70% of the time. I honestly just like to not deal with people, kind of be by myself and cope with it on my own. And over the years, I've learned that that's not the way to go about it. And it's really hard for me to talk about this topic in a way, because it brings back certain things. But that's just me. That's just how my brain is. I mean, I can't help it. My thoughts, they're everywhere all the time. But yeah, anyway, when I was in high school, I was a troublesome kid, and like I said, I just got into a lot of trouble. And when I was 15, my parents decided to send me to Utah for it was called a therapeutic boarding school, which sounds odd. And when I was, 15 and I first heard that I was being sent away, it was horrifying. Like, I was so incredibly mad at my parents. I was like, why would you do this to me? Like, why would you take me away from my friends and my school? Like, I loved where I was in my life, even though it wasn't a healthy and positive situation. And I look back on it now, and I thank my parents, and I think, why was I ever mad at them for sending me away for just trying to help me? Like, that's all they were doing. They wanted me to get away from that kind of stuff, and they wanted me to work on myself and just better myself, because I wasn't okay. So yeah, I lived in Utah at this boarding school for almost 2 years. It took me a while to be able to leave. It was kind of like a rehab prison kind of thing, but it wasn't prison. It's so hard to explain, but I mean, but I had to work on myself to get out of there, if that makes sense. I had things that I had to do school-wise, therapeutic-wise, mentally, whatever. Like, I had to better myself before I was okay to leave. So it took me almost 2 years, and that's a long time. I spent a long time at that place, and I learned a lot, and it was an experience for sure. But it definitely took away my teenage years, because I didn't move back home until before the start of my senior year. So I came back, and my parents didn't want me to go to the same high school. It was a big high school, and they didn't want me to be in that situation. One, because at the time I wasn't doing very well in school. I was failing, and that was very depressing for me. So they sent me to an alternative school, which I was very unhappy about at first. But it was a small school. There was no homework. And since it was so small, the teachers and the faculty members, they were all so close with all of the students. And I really loved the school. It really helped me because I graduated. I mean, that's a good thing. And that was the start for a positive outlook on my life, because all growing up I thought I would never graduate high school because I failed so bad at it. And with the ADHD and the NLD that I also have, it didn't help learning wise. Like, mentally, my brain just doesn't function the same as other people's. So school was just always hard for me. And so once I graduated high school, I had met, a guy that made me happy at the time, and it was great. I wasn't, into bad things. I wasn't getting into trouble. And then once I graduated, after I got my first job and I was working, and things were good. And when things are good, I feel like they're not going to be good for that long. And that's a problem that I have, is that I let my thoughts get to me very, very easily. And that's why I kind of came up with 5 tips to hopefully help you guys out a little bit, because they're things that I've kind of dealt with, and kind of it's helped me personally deal with depression. So, going to boarding school and dealing with, bad situations in my past, I feel has brought me a long way from depression, even though all of those things didn't help my depression at all. I was just a very negative teenager, and I still am. I am a very negative person. And I don't mean to be. It's just, my thoughts. I'm an inner negative person, I guess you could say. So, it sucks being so negative, because other people look at you and they don't want to be around you because you're so negative. And I feel like that's so that's so unhealthy, and that's why I feel like mental issues are so misunderstood, because people don't understand. They'll look at you and think that you're just whining, or they're just like, why are you feeling that way? Like, stop, but it's not that easy. And that's what makes it so frustrating for people who do suffer from depression, is that they can't just stop feeling like this. Like, it's a chemical thing in your body, and it affects you entirely, like, so bad. And it sucks when people don't genuinely know how you're feeling. So these 5 tips, I kind of wrote down just off the top of my head as I was thinking. They're not in any particular order, but the first tip I have is to surround yourself with positive people. And by that I mean, if you're in a relationship, or you have these friendships that these people are into negative things or negative thoughts, or they put you down, or they don't help you, they're not there for you, get away from that. You don't need to be around that kind of people, because when you're around negative people, you become negative, because that's your surroundings. When you're with positive, happy, cheery people who, want to have a good time and make you laugh and make you smile, like, that's the greatest feeling when you are going through depression, because, you snap out of this mental thought that you are so down because you're having such a good time with this person or these people or whoever, like, it's so important. And sometimes it'll be hard for me to realize that the people I'm around aren't very good for my mental state. And over the past year or two, I've gotten a lot better with that, because I've gone through stages where I've still kind of been around negative people, but I'm doing a lot better at it, I believe. And so yeah, that was my number 1 tip. Just be around happy people, and if you aren't, fix it or end it, break it off, whatever you need to do. Just get out of that negative state. And the second tip is to pamper yourself. I know for a fact that, like, right now my nails are chipped and they look like a 3-year-old painted them. And I look at them, I'm just like, ew. Or if you need to desperately shave your legs, like, it's always good to feel clean and fresh and polished and pretty. Like, that's why I love doing makeup, because it's something that I believe it boosts my confidence entirely. Even though I'm way more confident not wearing makeup more often than I used to, I still just love doing my makeup because it's fun, and I love, I love playing around with it, and I love, it makes me happy. It makes my mood a lot better, and gives me a different, like, outlook on how I look at myself. So yeah, just pamper yourself. If you want to take a nice bubble bath, light some candles, read a book, go get a massage. Like, just, pamper yourself. Make you feel good about yourself on the outside and on the inside, because it'll help, both ways. And the third tip I have is to clean. And I'm not the best cleaner. If I showed you my room right now, you'd be like, holy crap. I don't clean, as much as I should, but when I do, I have noticed that I do feel a lot better, because I'm in an environment and I'm surrounded by things that are in order, and it's clean and it's not messy and all over the place. And when you're especially around, like, a messy environment, or an environment where it's not positive, that it definitely brings your mood down, and it doesn't help with how low you're feeling. And so I think it's super important, even if it's not just moving around and doing stuff, like cleaning and being around a clean environment is super helpful, I believe. And I think I should probably clean more often, but yeah, it's a great thing. You should definitely try it. So the fourth tip is to get out of the house, whether it's going for a walk or going to the mall and doing some retail therapy, even by yourself or with a friend or with your mom or your siblings or whatever. Just get out of the house and do something. I would really like to take up yoga. That's one of the things that I think that I would really enjoy. And I've done it before, but I was super young. But now I feel like it'll be something that can really relax me and really get my mind off of things. And it's something to do. It's a reason to get out of the house. So yeah, just get out of the house, do stuff, be social, even when you feel like you don't want to be. One of the things that I've learned is being a server for my job. Being a server is super, super helpful because I interact with people daily and I get to give people this service that makes me feel good when I do a good job and I make them happy and they leave happy. It's a great feeling. And it's given me so much confidence since I have. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I do is I work. I get out of the house and I go work. Even though some days it might not be as great as others, it's an experience and I learn from it, and it keeps me positive even for a little bit. And the fifth and last tip that I wrote down was to find a hobby/job. This kind of brings us back to the last thing. If you find a hobby to do, whether it's a sport, whether it's drawing or collecting things, cooking, anything. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to take your time away from sitting on your bed or your couch and moping and crying and feeling so down, because I do that a lot. And I will think, okay, this isn't healthy. I need to get up and I need to go out and do something, or I need to find something for me to do. And one of the things that I like to do is I do like to draw. I like to write. I like to play computer games. I like to do that kinds of thing. And so it's super important to find something that you really, really love to do. And if it is your job, that's great. I believe my job, like I said, is super helpful. And it is a reason to get out of the house. And, with other hobbies, they're just something to keep you positive for a while and keep your mind off of things. Because one of the things that I have a hard time with is keeping my thoughts positive and not letting these negative thoughts get to me, because they're, like, other people don't understand. It's hard to just not think about certain things and not let certain things get to you. And that's a big problem of mine, is I'm a very sensitive person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it sucks. It really does suck, because people kind of have to watch what they say to me, because I could take it completely differently and I'll make a big deal about it and I'll be dramatic, and that's how other people will look at me, and it's not a good feeling. So, it's just, all in all, depression sucks, guys, and I believe that no one should have to suffer in silence. Everyone should be able to be heard and understood, and everyone should know that this is a mental illness. I mean, chemically, we suffer daily on anything, and there's far worse people out there that have, thought about suicide and, horrible things. And, in our society, we're bullied, and we, so many people are looked at so negatively when they're not perfect and are not, skinny and athletic and, make so much money and blah, 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 blah. There's so many stereotypes in our society today that don't help with depression, don't help with anxiety or any kind of mental illness. It's horrible. And I really want you guys to know that I'm always here for any of you. If you're ever feeling down, or you're feeling depressed, or in a state where you're not mentally and emotionally stable, you can always talk to me. You can always message me on any of my social media. And, I will be here for you guys, just like you guys are here for me. You guys have left the sweetest comments on my past videos. And so many of you, you know, feel the same way and go through the same thing that I have. And it's so warming to know that you guys are here for me and you guys are so supportive. So I hope these tips helped you a little bit. I feel like I rambled a lot because it's kind of a touchy subject for me to talk about, but I wanted to do it for you guys, and hopefully I helped you guys out. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for another girl talk video series, if you guys want me to continue doing this, just leave them in the comments below. And I would love to do this for you guys if that's what you guys want to see. So just let me know. And if you want to go follow me on any of my social media, they will be in the down bar. So you guys can go check me out. I don't have anything to say. I'm kind of tired and I've talked really fast. But I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.